Hey guys, hope you had a good weekend. Doing a quick midday little breakdown of what's going on with GME, technical analysis. It's selling off quite a bit today, down 6%. A lot of the Nasdaq and tech stocks are down, but it's kind of uncorrelated, I think, with GME. Anyways, in the 5-minute, it's not looking good. It was trying to hold the support at 153, 151. Kind of this support level that we had back here on last Tuesday. Broke through that support, and I guess next one really would be this 145-ish area. We'll see. If you watched my videos before, I've been saying it's bearish as long as we stay in. It's bearish, but as long as we stay in this wedge, it's not a problem. Yeah, it's broken out of that wedge at this point. Unless if this thing has an epic rebound by the end of the day, and then this is just a big wick, which I don't think that's going to happen. See, these days, the MACD had crossed over back here on the 4th, and then we also had red on the MACD, and then we're getting red candlesticks on the daily underneath the 9 moving average, which is also bearish. And then these days we're, basically just right in the middle. MACD was still bearish though, but we were above this ascending trend line right here. And then I said, as long as we're above that, even if these other indicators are showing bearish, it's not a big deal. It's still, I think, will break out to the upside. Today it looks like it's breaking out to the downside, so it can break out either way. When you have a wedge type formation, it's just saying it's going to break out. Typically, if it's in a bullish pattern already, it'll break out. It'll continue on the same pattern. And this isn't a bullish pattern because we've got the short-term moving average or the long-term moving average. But yeah, it looks like it's breaking out to the downside, unfortunately. But maybe it's fortunate. Maybe you can get better prices if you want to get in on this. And I would say this has a ways that it can still drop yet. Because I think 145 is probably the next support we're looking to hold. And if we can't hold that, then yeah, we're down here like 133, 32, this area over here. It's not a huge deal that it breaks out of the wedge. I mean, that was just one thing we were looking at to kind of anticipate when this will break out, and we're hoping to break out to the upside, but you don't know. And that being said, all of the technical analysis and so many posts, all the stuff on Reddit about this wedge, this Dorito chip, this whatever, and how it's almost about to go crazy. That's hedge funds and those manipulating the market and the prices. They are also reading that and seeing that, and so very demoralizing if we're breaking out to the downside. And I get it. But yeah, I would say I'll probably be doing some call credit spreads to catch some of this on the way down, just to catch some premium. But it's fine if it breaks out to the downside. We just would like to find supports to hold. So maybe it'll hold this support. This looks like it's probably breaking below this 151 support that we had on Tuesday. But we've got this support here, then this one here. So once it hits this, and if it holds, it should bounce, and then we'll kind of trade in a range, which is also fine. Nice tight range, that's good. That'll bring the IV down on the options, make it easier to make money with options if and when this thing does break out to the upside. Kind of waiting on, all sorts of different stuff we could be waiting on, but we do know this is still heavily shorted, and it's heavily manipulated, so the manipulation to the downside would make sense. And back here we got it dropped all the way down to 40 something bucks. So, and then we had this one, and then it dropped back down to 116. So it's not to say we can't come back down to these lower ranges and $100 or even $40, and that's not changing anything, because if we look, people are still holding. If you look at the OBV, I just can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically the volume thing. OBV. See, I thought this was actually going to bounce back up. in time, but it didn't. So yeah, now I'd say it is breaking out to the downside. Yeah, look at that OBV. Got up, and look how it's held up here, even though the price has come down. So it's just as high, almost just as high as it was when the stock price was at 341. So this has just all been manipulated to the downside. We already know there's 4 to 1 or so generally on average buy to sell orders, or more people buying than selling. There's all sorts of DD you can look at. This is the most watched and most owned stock, I believe, in the whole world, at least most traded. So as far as retail owning shares, maybe they're synthetic shares we own, maybe it's just an IOU all our brokerages are giving us. That was some other stuff I was reading, because for retail, it's a separate brokerage that just owns an allotment of them, and then retail just buys into that. So maybe that's another way that they're manipulating it to not show it. Once this, once all this basically screwing around is over, though, with them forcing the price to be different than what it actually is, this thing will go crazy, more crazy than I think any other squeeze has ever happened. Yeah, and even reading Michael Burry's tweets about how this is a once in a lifetime, or actually once in maybe forever or ever, kind of how the original housing market crash was, referring to the Big Short, and this is another thing that will probably never happen again. And if you look at even just people all around the world that own shares of it, and I mean, I've never seen that in my life on a single stock. So it's crazy. I think the voting is going to be a big catalyst, and I'm sure someone's got the date for that. It's not a huge deal for me on dates, but yeah, just gotta wait for it, and don't get discouraged. And you know, I try and tell people not to necessarily buy dips, but buy momentum. So if you're here and you don't know what's coming, and it's here, you think, oh, this is a dip, and then it goes here, oh, it's a dip, and oh, here is a dip. Like, okay, but then it kept going lower all the way down to here. Really want to buy after it's done all of its dips and wait for the momentum to come back up. Your call, though. You can buy whenever you want, but that's kind of the way I trade. Because if it's in a downward trend, the dips just keep dipping. An upward trend, you get dips also, which is when you buy in, like right here. That's a dip on an upward trend. That's a dip after consolidation. This was such a funny day, actually. Actually, this might have been a DTCC stress test day. This day it ran up all this, and I heard we're getting another one of those on, I think, Wednesday or Thursday this week. So, and I think that might be really unusual for them to do back-to-back stress tests. Usually it's like, I don't know, 6 months or a year, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but it's like a long time typically before they would usually do those. And I think they're doing another one already this week. So lots of different signs as to what's going on and what's happening. But just the fact that this didn't bounce up, I want to let you guys know it has broken out to the downside. On the hourly, at least, I suppose. We still could have a crazy rally, I guess, before end of day, where it stays up to up above 159. And then, depending on how you look at technical analysis and charts, you would say, okay, that's just a long wick then. It didn't really break out to that downside. Because once this candle closes, say if the day was over and this was the candle, then yeah, I would say it broke out for sure. But if this closes at the end of the day above this trend line right here, then this will just be a wick. It won't be a full candle, it'll be a wick like this. Then you'll just have a wick that sticks below it, which isn't as strong as a candle. See, like how this wick closed was below it, but didn't close below it. So, yeah, that is a possibility by end of day. But on the hourly, I wanted to update you guys if you're panicking. It's no big deal. If we break out to the downside, it's not a problem. Looking to hold different supports, but again, this is all technical analysis, and it's not a huge deal because hedge funds, high frequency traders, algos, they all see this as well. So that's what I got for you guys. We'll see at the end of the day for a little recap of my losses. I lost so much last week, I'm out of buying power to even lose anymore this week. My brokerages are so smart. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. See you soon. Follow us on Twitter at HappyMoneyYT. And if you got Discord, jump on there too. Links in the description. Thanks, guys. Peace out.